Then the author, Hafidullah, he went on to explain first what is said to be at-talaq as-sunni, at-talaq alladhi waqa ala wajh al-mashru', where is the talaq that goes in line, it fulfilled the criteria of the Sharia regarding how to perform or how to go about doing a talaq. Then he mentioned that, so with this, he mentioned the guideline. So for a talaq to be said to be Sunni, it must fulfill certain criteria. It must fulfill certain criteria. So are certain sifat. So they mentioned that these sifat, that they could be said to be 4 sifat. So there's 4 things that should be in place. If it is done, then the talaq is said to be a Sunni. So meaning concern the husband who wish to divorce his wife, for everything to be said to be in line and he follow proper procedure in carrying out the divorce, then he should make sure that these things are in place. And as we mentioned before, that regarding concerning at-talaq, the onus is upon the husband. The onus is more so upon the husband regarding that he does things as outlined in the Sharia. So those 4 criteria, I might add a 5th. So they mentioned that there's 4 criteria. The Sheikh, he mentioned that 1, that the husband issue the talaq by saying talaq once, talaq tiki, or talaq. So saying talaq once, not saying it twice in one go or 3 times in one go. So him just saying talaq once to the wife. So pronouncing the word talaq to his wife once, and that's sufficient. That is a sunnah. Then the second thing that he mentions, so if the person does it 2 times or 3 times, then it falls into a different category and a different ruling to be discussed. So the sunnah is to say divorce only once. If the person was to say it in one sitting or one sentence, talaq, 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 or talaq, talaq twice or thrice, then that falls into a different sitting, a different ruling to be discussed next. So him just saying it once, that's what is required. The second condition, that she should be in a state of tahara. So the wife, or tuhur, where should the wife also in a state of purity. Meaning purity, she's not on her menstrual cycle. So she should not be on her menstrual cycle. So not in her menstrual cycle, nor nifas, nor or post bleeding, that after child bleeding. She should not be in that state. So that's the second thing. So she's in a state of tuhur, where she's not going through her menstrual cycle or post-bleeding, childbirth bleeding. The third of those criteria. So also, again, if she's in her cycle, then that also a different ruling applies to be discussed. So that's a different ruling that will fall into the second category of al-bid'i, and it carries its own ruling to be discussed. So we'll try to cover all these things, hopefully today in this setting. We find that a lot of things regarding divorce, it revolves around these matters, whether divorce is valid or not valid. A lot of the contention and confusion and the questions that are asked revolve around these matters. So we're going to try to take things in a somewhat symptomatic way, and try to do things in a slow way. So it might take, we see how much time it might take. So the third criteria or sifa that is to be in place is that the wife also, that since they mentioned that tuhrin lam yujami'aha, that she has finished her cycle, and since she have ended her cycle or last cycle, and she have washed, and she has state that she have washed, she have finished her cycle, they have not have any intimacy. So the wife and the husband, since her last cycle and the time that he wished to divorce her, between since then up until this time, that they have not have any intimacy. They have not any sexual intimacy. So that's the third condition. So if you have had intimacy with her, then fall into a different category. So the third condition is no intimacy since she have had her last cycle up until the time that he choose to divorce her. The third or the fourth criteria, or the fourth sifa that should be in place, that he doesn't also, that after issuing a divorce, he wait until she ends her iddah. So she finish her, either go to her third menstrual cycle. So you have from the time it have been issued the divorce, and she goes into her iddah, either he waits until she completes her iddah, depending on her circumstance and situation. So if she's having normal cycle, it's 3 cycle, and an additional we discuss until it comes to an end, everything comes to an end, or iddah comes to an end incomplete when she have taken her bath. So when she have taken her ghusl, then he cannot take her back. Or so she completes her iddah in her 3 cycle or 3 months. Not divorce her many times during that iddah. So he divorced her, then a month later he divorced her, not in that manner. Not in that manner. So those are the criteria the ulama have put in place for it to be deemed as Sunni. So it to be deemed as Sunni. Of the other thing that can be added as a 5th is regarding al-ishhad, shuhud. I was asked before. So is it also a criteria in offering the divorce that there should be witnesses? We'll discuss that inshallah ta'ala. That will be also be discussed. So those are things that so in summary that is said to the proper procedure regarding divorce are as follows. 1, that one divorce is issue, I divorce you once. They discuss between the ulama, does it have to be said in Arabic or has to be said, can it be said in other than Arabic? That to be discussed regarding, so said overall that Arabic, yes, is acceptable, but also the person say it in their own language, other than Arabic, also it counts as talaq. So the person will say in English, I divorce you. Then that becomes a talaq. I will discuss that regarding. So that also is discussed between the ulama. So the first thing, he says, issue 1, divorce. I divorce you. Not to say it twice, not to say it 3 times, not to say it 6 times. So I divorce you once. Second, she is not on a menstrual cycle. Whether the start, or the beginning or in between, not to divorce, not to issue the divorce while she's in her cycle up until she have taken her bath. The third, that also from her last cycle up until the time that he has offered the divorce, they have not have any intimacy, no sexual relations. The fourth is that he should allow her to complete her iddah. And the normal thing is with the iddah, during the iddah, if it's a raj'i, then she should be in the house. They should be still together. Not from the time that he give the divorce, then he tell her to leave, or she decide to leave and go to her parents' house. And that will be the regarding talaq al-raj'i. But overall, she completes her iddah, or he takes her back within due times. And then the fifth that could be added is al-ishhad, shuhud. Is it required in a pronouncing talaq that it has to be done in the presence of witness? So if there's no witness, is it valid or not valid? That also to be discussed. So those are the things that this is considered to be a talaq as-sunni. Talaq as-sunni, where the person he fulfill all the criteria. Aywa.